Hi, I'm back. Helena Harris. Okay, so we talked about the ABCs of training: antecedent, behavior, and consequences. And that's kind of the root. That's how most learning happens, by association. The horse learns to associate A and B with C, the consequences. And hopefully, we're out there giving the horse good or great consequences, which will help them retain what they learn much longer and make it easier for them to recall their behavior when we give them the aid. That's kind of hacking the neurobiology of horses, their brain chemistry. When we get that cocktail just right, then what we teach them goes into their long-term memory and is much easier to recall when we want it. So those are the ABCs. Today, I'm going to talk about the 4 primary categories of horse training. Now, we use the word training to mean a lot of things in our industry, but I'm going to break those things down into 4 primary categories. So when we are working with a horse to teach him a new behavior or a skill, we are teaching. So that's number 1, teaching. Then we have training. Then we have managing behavior. And then we have socialization, or developing the horse and human connection. So teaching. Teaching involves the development or learning of a brand new skill. The best method to help a horse learn something new is positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement by using a very palatable or valuable reward as the consequence in that equation, in the A, B, and C. We're basically releasing all the best neurotransmitters in the horse's brain: dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, glutamate, all the things that take that learning experience, the task, and escort it from their central nervous system into their long-term memory. Right? That can't happen without the help of some amazing neurotransmitters. When we offer the horse food as the consequence for the behavior they give us, that presentation of food releases all the right neurotransmitters. So that's kind of the key, that's the big secret. And it's not something that I made up or that Shauna Karish made up or any other positive reinforcement trainer made up. This is behavioral science. It was discovered, more or less, by B.F. Skinner in 1938. And if you remember high school biology, perhaps you remember learning about Pavlov's dogs, bell, food, salivation. That's a type of associative learning that happens in animals, and positive reinforcement is one type of method. It's called operant conditioning, and it really results in the fastest learning outcomes, the longest lasting, and it also supports good relationships between the horses and their people. So that's teaching. And we're going to use a very distinct method for teaching a horse a new skill. The second category is training. And this is where a lot of people, especially professional trainers, they mix up or they confuse teaching and training as the same thing. And they're not. Training is taking a skill that the horse has already learned, or a behavior, and refining it through repetition. That is also best achieved with positive reinforcement. However, some conscientious and compassionate negative reinforcement can also achieve some good learning outcomes. And this is what most of us have learned. It's pressure and release. So as trainers and handlers, we've learned that pressure and release helps our horses learn what we want them to learn. But really, that's best for taking a skill that the horse has already learned initially and refining it or polishing it through repetition. The third category of training is managing behavior. Managing behavior involves things like teaching a horse to regulate their own emotions, how to suppress the spook, let's say. So the horse's startle response is instinctive, and in most cases they cannot control it. But we can teach them through behavioral management, we can teach them to suppress or mitigate the intensity of that startle response so that we stay safe and in the saddle. Right? Anybody who's ever learned how to sit deep or die, right? We want to stay as safe as we possibly can. when it happens. It's not if the horse is going to spook, it's when he's going to spook and at what intensity. So managing behavior isn't just about that. Managing behavior is also about providing some clarity to the horse about how we want him to behave when in our presence. A lot of people will use the word respect, or I need to set boundaries with this horse. Horses have no clue what respect means. They have no idea what your boundaries are as a human being. And when you try to set boundaries through punishment, through the use of a whip or a rope or something loud and scary or pain, they will not learn in the way we want them to learn. They will not understand what your boundaries are. But we can teach them how to behave. It's ABCs, antecedent, behavior, consequence. We can teach them how to manage their own behavior so we don't have to do it for them. And that's pretty broad. So we can manage their behavior. We can manage their anxiety. We can manage where they put their feet when we're leading them. We can manage their focus and attention. So we can lift them up if they're depressed. So that's the third part of horse training, managing behavior. And then the fourth part is socialization. This is the relationship building between the horse and the human. In behavioral science, we call it interspecies interaction. It's when your dog and your cat snuggle up. It's when your horse hangs out with a goat or a chicken. It's when you and your horse work together, or you and any horse work together. That type of socialization requires trust. It requires confidence on the part of the horse, and it requires predictability, and it requires self-sacrifice on your part. It requires spending time with the horse in which you ask for nothing in return. It's just being in their presence quietly, sharing time, space, weather, environment, without any demands on the animal. Because this is how horses develop relationships among themselves. And those, what we call affiliative relationships, those are friendly, social, cohesive relationships that they develop in their family bands and in their herds. Those are really important for a horse's confidence and their ability to learn. So when you take your horse out of his comfort zone, whether you're putting him in the trailer or taking him to a new show venue, or you're asking him to think or work a little bit harder under saddle, when you take your horse out of his comfort zone, he is going to lean on the trust he has in you to keep him safe and to keep him free of pain. And so the socialization part is the most broad of the 4 training categories because it involves so many different concepts, like making sure that his home life is comfortable, making sure that he has friends, making sure that he has enough forage because his body needs forage all the time, making sure that he has good and frequent veterinary care, and and nutrition so that his physical self is well. So all of those little things go into the socialization category. So when we think of horse training, it's not a one size fits all. What we do with a horse is going to fall into one of these 4 categories: teaching, training, managing behavior, and socialization with a human. I will go deeper into each of these categories in a future video, but if you'd like to ask some questions or you have ideas or you want to ask me to cover something in particular, you can find me at whoharris.com. We have a contact form there. Go ahead and send in your questions or your comments, and I'd love to hear from you. It's been a while since I've been kind of interacting with the community out there. My podcast is on hiatus. I don't know that I'll return to it, but this is kind of fun. So if you just want to chat, go up to whoharris.com, find that contact form, and send me a note. All right, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it.